Next question. Here's a real raw question about prayer. Was our week straight of praying a failure as our country continues to get sicker, not healed, so many things getting worse, not better? That's a real raw question, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And maybe for those who don't know, maybe kind of fill people in on what the week straight of praying
Right.
is.
So a couple weeks ago, we had people sign up for 30-minute time increments of prayer. So from a Sunday evening to the next Sunday evening, 168 hours straight, we had people praying literally around the clock, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So the question then came, this question was submitted the week after that, after things seemed to get worse. And the question was just kind of like,
Right.
why pray? Why spend a week straight? Why did some people wake up at 2 a.m. and pray? And then it just seemed like it didn't even get any better. So couple thoughts on that. One is, I think before we can say that it's a waste, I think we need to look at the stats and realize that the death toll, although this has taken a really hard hit on our world, is not nearly what it was projected to be.
Right.
So blame that on what you want, but I know that there were a lot of people praying and still are.
Yeah.
So I don't know that it's fair to say that it was a failure and that things are getting worse. In fact, death rates are actually, although higher than anybody wants them, much lower than originally expected and projected. So the other thought is that comes to my mind as I'm just thinking about this, is that God often answers prayers in ways that we don't like, or that we would have never expected. And talking to God is never a waste.
Right.
If every prayer you prayed for the rest of your life did not get answered the way you wanted it to get answered, you will have wasted 0 seconds talking to God.
Right.
If nothing turns out the way we want it to, no time is wasted. Right. So I think this goes back to something that we talked about on Sunday, Jen. We talked about there was a question about prayer.
Right.
And we talked about how prayer is not meant to change God, but it's meant to change us.
Right.
So, I think if we go back to the why behind anything that we do, whether it's reading the Bible or spending time in prayer, if we go back to the why of those things, that's going to help us figure out, that's going to remind us the purpose behind what we're doing.
Right. Yeah. And one thing that I saw during that week, I saw people posting about waking up at 2, 3 a.m. and how it was tough, but then it was so rewarding.
Yeah.
And they loved it. And people who maybe hadn't spent very much time in prayer, now they were like, what do I do for 30 minutes of prayer? And by the time they spent 30 minutes praying, we're like, I could keep going.
Right.
That's awesome. Keep going, So I just think we have to remember that prayer it never is about changing the heart of God. We can petition him. We can ask for those things. But like Kevin said, if he never answered another one of your prayer requests, would you still trust him?
Right.
Would you still feel like he's faithful and worthy of your time and your attention? Because ultimately his will is better than ours is.
Right. And I say this phrase all the time too. So I think we're all guilty of this, but we say like, God didn't answer my prayer. I mean, let's be honest. No is just as much of an answer as yes.
Absolutely.
It is an answer. God answers every single prayer that's prayed, just often not in the way that we would have expected or wanted.
Right. Absolutely.